Hi, everyone. Welcome to our fourth Heartwork podcast. My name is Alexis Lee, your host. This is a podcast on poetry that reaches the eye, the ear, and the heart. Today's a very special podcast. We're going to be talking about the risk of sentimentality in poetry. And I have a special colleague of mine, Mr. James P. Shaw, and I'm going to pass it off to him to introduce himself.
Hi, I'm James Patrick Shaw. My concern with poetry is actually the honesty in sentimentality. So I think this is a it's a great topic for me to be here. Um, my poetry is usually very in line with Shakespearean monologues and how they kind of profess my heart, like they kind of scream on the
Mhm,
page.
mhm, mhm.
And there's so much emotion that I think why Shakespeare is so timeless is because of that sentimentality, the risk of honesty, and there needs to be more honest emotion in poetry. And there's no there's no better way to make yourself a legacy than to show true human nature in its truest form, which is maybe a little too much sentimentality. But it's good. But
Thank
yeah. So
thank
that's
you
what I
so
write too, I guess.
You do, James. I'm so happy you're here. And I will tell you, like, when we first met, you brought an epic poem to our workshop, and I was like, whoa, okay, this guy has some archaic language, and I'm loving it. And it was like a little deep, and it was like about like a black mountain, and I was like, whoa, okay. But I just loved like your richness of language, and something you introduced to me, which maybe we'll get into a little bit later, is kennings, which is an old
Yeah.
English hyphenated language form of like, it's just amazing. And so your preservation of language is just so beautiful. And so I want to just t introduce today, you guys. We have our verse in the Bible. We have romantic Song of Solomon. This is like a love song, a ballad to a love. Scholars, theologians, also comment and say this is like a picture of Christ, to the church, to the bride. Song of Solomon 4:1 says, "Behold, you are beautiful, my love. Behold, you're beautiful. Your eyes are doves behind your veil." And then we have two epigraphs. Do you have it in front of you, James?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you read the Rainer Maria Rilke one?
Sure. For our heart rises out of us as it did out of the others. I like that
Beautiful.
one.
Double like heart rises out of us as it did out of others. Then I'm gonna the late Pastor Timothy Keller says this, which is a little bit of our like counter argument we'll get to today. Love,
Hmm.
love without truth is sentimentality. It supports and affirms us, but keeps us in denial about our flaws. Truth without love is harshness. It gives us information, but in such a way that we cannot really hear it. So he was a wonderful pastor. And what we're going to be talking about is three beautiful poems today. The first one I found, like, as I was looking into this topic, The Blooming of Sentimentality by Stephen Corey. We're going to then go into Mr. Shakespeare. I'm going to have James read Sonnet
Mm.
130. And then we
Yeah,
have
buddy.
a Roman numeral list poem by James himself. And so I want to just launch into this podcast by asking you, James, how do you define sentimentality and why do you think we need it in poetry? I think you kind of talked a little bit about that, but the Oxford English Dictionary tells us that it is affection of sensibility, exaggerated insistence upon the claims of sentiment. And, if we think about the poetic form as something like you said, in heart work, we do believe, I mean, this is why I do heart work. It is an absolutely honest pursuit. If
Hmm.
anything, I would not be doing this podcast with you guys or even be writing poetry to God if it was artificial. I
Yeah,
mean, so I mean, me and James are kind of like two like warriors that are gonna go to bat. We're gonna go and fight artifice today.
we are going to fight artifice.
And but I'm gonna let James speak, and don't mind me. I'm gonna be eating a little bit of my like acai bowl.
Yeah, enjoy. Yeah, so I think there's a that's a question that question's a little bit threefold. So why I think sentimentality is so necessary is because I think humans are the most honest when they are having the highest amount of emotion. And it can be rage, love, it could even be, um, lust, anger, whatever, any emotion that really almost takes you out of your logical like presence of mind,
Mhm.
I think is honest. And I'm not saying feel your feelings and ignore your brain, but I am saying that, when you're angry, it shows you something. It's telling you something. So when you feel those emotions and you turn them into word, it's never going to be one to one to what you think or feel, but it is going to come off maybe extreme. And, that ties into the risk of sentimentality where I think some people they can't handle extreme emotion
Mm.
from someone else's perspective. So I do think part of it is a lack of empathy on the reader if they see sentimentality as something um, too much or overly emotional, whatever, any negative connotation that you can put towards a sentimental approach.
Mhm.
I do think though that, like Jamie from our cohort, from example, she writes some very raw, emotional, sentimental pieces,
Mhm.
but I find them to be some of the most beautiful in the program because they are just honest. They are purely,
Honest work.
yeah,
Hmm.
she does not pull punches.
Hmm. We need
And
honest work. We do.
yeah, yeah. So I think in terms of artifice, that everything we write as poets is artifice. But I do think
Ooh, that's a big
I
statement.
it's true.
But what is artifice though? What is that?
Yeah, yeah. So artifice is the sense that what you're writing, you're creating, and you're creating it for a purpose.
Okay.
However, I don't see artifice as something entirely negative. However, I think if you pull away from your honesty because you're afraid of sentimentality, that artifice becomes something,
Okay.
for lack of a better
Performative.
term,
Performative.
performative, but also bastardized. You know what I mean? Like you kind of ruined your
Like
honest moment.
estranged. Estranged.
Yeah, like you estranged your piece from yourself because you were scared to do the thing that hurt more.
Okay,
And
so I think what you're getting at is like we cannot abandon intimacy.
yeah, we can't abandon intimacy with ourselves, the object of our intimacy. First and foremost, be honest. Even if what you're writing is like a little too much, be a little too much. Like, because
Okay.
it's
Okay.
honest. Yeah.
Okay. For me, it's like, yeah, don't be X-rated.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, yeah,
That's fair.
okay. This
Yeah.
is a Christian podcast, and this is going to stay that way.
Yeah, yeah,
No, I'm not.
exactly.
Let's go back to what I was going to say. Something you said struck me. So we were in workshop. I know that we were talking about The Bluest Eye by Toni Morrison. It's a very hard book, but we were
Yeah,
talking
good book.
about how there was a point when Piccola had this moment where she felt anger was justifying for her. It was like this lovely surge within her. And that was disturbing to me, but we were talking about how, like, maybe let's say a parent gets angry, and really what's underneath the surface is fear.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
I think we have to do some digging with ourselves, some digging, some chiseling, some mining. I actually like to think of poetry as like I'm a
An
miner.
ice pick,
A nice pick, you know.
like your
Um,
poem. Yeah.
yeah, I just wrote a poem called Ode to Joy if you guys want to go read it on bipolar poetry. But like mining for light in a dark cave. And
Hmm.
but please, yes, continue. I think I really like what you're saying there. I think if not sentimentality, let's just say let's put that aside for a minute. What do we need to preserve in poetry so that poetry does not just become strictly artificiality then?
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
maybe we can mention
I
Timothy. Yeah.
yeah, I think what we need to preserve is the true. I keep saying human, like I'm not human. Like, but the true human,
Hey guys, I think this is
an alien,
Lord of the Rings,
a creature. Um,
Hobbit. Wait, no, no, not
uh,
Hobbit.
hobbits are super short. I would call myself an orc.
No, what the Narnia. Let's just keep going. Just keep
Okay, let's go. Minotaur. I don't know.
One of
Um,
the witch's minions. Okay.
yeah,
I'm just kidding.
I'll
I'm just
take that.
kidding.
I'm a witch's minion. I'll take that.
No,
Um,
you're
oh
not.
my God, what were we saying?
You were
Uh,
talking about like preserving like
oh yeah.
mm,
So I think so first and foremost, poetry to me is the preservation of human experience.
mm,
And that's why. See, this is my gripe with when people are like, don't write nostalgia, don't be sentimental. It's like, dude, we are sentimental, nostalgic creatures.
Hmm.
So if I am to write as a fellow human, I will be sentimental and nostalgic. However, I do think poetry is every poem is a time capsule, and
It's beautiful.
I think that's what is meant to preserve is how we feel in that moment, how we describe those words, and
Mm,
for ourselves and others when it's read after, years go by and we pass away and we're no longer
I love
around, that
that.
people will read that and be able to see what was going on in this wizard's minion's mind
Hmm.
50 years ago.
Hmm.
And that's why I added Emily Dickinson to the doc as well, is
Oh,
that
I saw that.
um
Yeah. Yeah. What would
yeah,
you like to say
because
about that? Yeah.
yeah, it is simply she has so many sentimental poems, but then poems that are remove sentiment entirely, and
Mm.
you can see this trajectory of her mind from you would actually like her because
I want to
she
do it.
has the same
I
kind
appreciate
of she has the same kind of transition that John Donne has,
it.
where
Hmm.
she begins very secular and away from God, and then she has a mental break, and then she finds God, and every poem after that kind of becomes about God for like
Mm.
40 years.
I
But
love
they're
it.
all so good. Yeah. So that's what I mean. It's like you get to see the trajectory of this woman's life that you'll never
Wow.
meet,
That's
but you
beautiful.
you get to know her on such an intimate level that eventually, although you begin seeing her poems as a little bit artificial, maybe a little extreme, you get to the
Mhm.
point where it's like, oh no, this is really how she felt. She felt this deeply. She felt this painfully, and
Yeah.
she believed that deeply in God. And it's like, oh, that what else are you going to achieve with poetry than that?
I
You know
mean,
what I
yeah,
mean?
I think one thing that is so beautiful, especially with Christian poets, is this invitation to be absolutely real with God, our creator.
Hmm.
First of all, Jesus is not stumped. I mean, like, he literally knows everything. I mean, the
Stumped is
creator,
a hell of a word.
like, what'd you say?
I said stumped is a hell of a word to describe it. That like, he's like omniscient, but
Yeah.
like not stumped.
Yeah,
Oh, that's kind
like
of
it's not
funny.
stumped. Like he knows everything.
Yeah.
Like it's like so when we come to him, in the secret place, like this is why, John Donne is so striking to me. People might think his language is quite jarring or offensive even. He's inviting us into a real conversation with the creator, and Emily Dickinson does the same. I want to just
Yeah.
circle back to something you said about time capsules. I love that. I think that what we'll do right now, we're going to jump into our first poem, you guys. I'm going to read this one, and I was struck. This one
Ooh,
actually
watch
made me
me.
want to cry. Can you see it?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
I can see it very well.
great.
It was like
Boom.
a boom. Yeah, yeah.
And yeah, let this soak in. I let this soak in and I almost, yeah, I teared up at the end. It's from 1986, Stephen Corey, The Blooming of Sentimentality. I hear it coming from the start, the claptrap all shamelessly marshaled, the hordes of muted violins swelling and subsiding, the voice wrenching to a wail. Wait. Wait, sorry. Swelling and subsiding, the voice wrenching to a wail I know makes a cheap shot bid for my heart. I keep it all at a distance, looking askance at the hangdog eyes or the child's squeal in her sparkling smile. These images that must not count because they are designed to count, to demand the shiver of my skin for the whimper of a half-pound pup. Time after time, I fended off the chorus of grandmothers, roses, and tears. It seems to fall from the sky, to sprout from the ground by night, rootless and puffed with hope. I focus instead on integrity, wholeness, and balance of mood. Visions that come from those depths where freshness and honesty breed, where clans of thin motives and still thinner words lack the power and desire to go. But on one dark, soulful day, those violins rise up again. So many I picture a wave. So many that I picture a wave. The sweeping boughs like grain rippling to the far horizon. And through that deafening swell, my lovers and family march uphill to a flowered ridge glued on a crystal sky where the enemies cannot reach them. This could be the place, I suddenly think. And I run to reach that distant height, my arms outstretched and raised in that gesture of exaltation I have always seen but never known. And then I am beside myself as well, cheering me on as I run. I reach the sun-drenched edge, and I know I have cut off the dullness of reason. I set loose a burgeoning dream that could give all my other dreams range. I think
Yeah,
this,
that's
yeah.
it's perfect, you know.
I mean, like,
Um,
what in the world, guys? Sorry, I
yeah,
kind of like had a few moments where my eyes were, it was too bright.
it's very bright. I'm
Um,
trying not to look at it. Uh,
I know. Well,
but
let's like sit with this. Let's kind of look at, this is definitely a loaded poem.
mhm.
What strikes you in the beginning of this piece?
In the beginning,
In the
you know what?
beginning, God created the heavens and the earth.
Yeah, in the beginning, there was a witch with minions. Uh,
You'll make it.
yeah,
You're gonna make it to Aslan, okay?
yeah. There we go, Aslan. Um, yeah, the beginning definitely feels. It's almost that if I was to write this poem, right? The first two stanzas feel almost like, should I do it? Ooh, should I? Should I? Should I? Should I? I'm gonna go a little too far. Should I do it? And then it's like the third, it's like I'm doing it. And by the end, it's like if you
I'm
don't
doing.
like it,
I'm doing
yeah,
it. I'm doing it.
yeah, it feels they feel a little apprehensive
So
even.
what is this, you
Mhm.
guys? Like, let's think. I want every listener, if you're driving, if you're drinking a Starbucks, if you're in a different country, thank you for being here. Get your sentimentality up. You're with two old souls right now. So,
Yeah,
in the first three stanzas, this speaker is limiting himself. He is literally shutting his blinds and he's closing the locks and he's saying, I am not going to enjoy God's pleasure things in this life. The muted violins, the sparkling eye smile of a beautiful child squeal, a smile of a child, and a little half-pound pup. And then, time after time, I fend it off. The chorus of grandmothers, roses, and tears. I mean, if that, James, if that's not a list of the most sentimental things, what is?
yeah, that's yeah. When I'm nostalgic, I think of my grandmother. You
I
know,
know. Oh
every
my gosh.
time,
And you know what? I'm going to say something nobody's going to need to like, okay, the Reagans have something in their life and no one's going to understand this, but James knows what word I'm going to say right now. It's a
Oh
compliment.
no.
Okay. If I say, you're goon, I mean that as a compliment, guys. Okay, like a grandma holding somebody's hand. That's so goon. Okay, let's keep going. It's not like you're a goon.
I know
So
what you
this
mean.
is like this, I'm not even kidding. God only knows why we started calling things goon. Okay.
Yeah.
It's sentimental. Roses, tears. And I will say though, we were told in workshop not to use tears.
Yeah,
Um,
tears, memory.
moons, don't use all these
Yeah,
things. And I'm going to push back a little bit on that and say use them, guys, but don't use them in a way that you've heard them before.
yeah.
Like, I will critique him a little bit on this next line. It seems to fall from the sky. Okay. You could have said
Yeah.
something like, it seems to
Seems as
pirouette.
something from somewhere else. Yeah.
Yeah, it seems to like pirouette or like something from the sky instead of like just fall from the sky. The same thing, don't just say crashing waves. Say something like something. So, something like say something like a lashing wave, which is going to be in a poem in the next Vessels of Light issue.
Mm.
Um, so yeah, continue. I love your thoughts.
Yeah, there is that line right there. It seems to fall from the sky to sprout from the ground by night. I do think part of me thinks that um he's almost playing with the awareness that he's about to become sentimental, so he becomes almost a little cliche to be like, look, this is what you want me to do. This is what you want me to say. Something so easy and simple for you to understand before he actually goes into the sentimental deep end. However, it does lead a
Yeah.
little. yeah, it does
Like
read a
here.
little cliche, yeah,
It
but
does, but
yeah.
I hear what you're saying. There's kind of like a descent of these things, and
Mm-hmm.
then it kind of rises in the morning. Like, you hear them. Like if you're in a neighborhood and sprinklers are going off and you're walking and you hear grandmothers and roses are fresh and maybe. But then he says like I focused instead on these things: integrity, wholeness, and balance of mood. Now, I don't think he's saying here that these things are wrong.
Yeah, no.
But oh, one thing you notice, let's look at this. They're rootless and they're puffed up with hope. So you know how much I love hope.
Yeah,
Oh
yep,
my
you're
gosh.
very hopeful.
I love the word hope because hope is that agent that tells you that even when you are literally at the brink of death, there is still there's still tomorrow and a
Yeah,
bright tomorrow too.
still
So
something to fight for.
there's still something to fight for, absolutely. And
Yeah.
that is why they call Jesus the living hope. They literally call
Mm.
him the living hope. Man, he's the best. But and so I think I focus instead on integrity, wholeness, and balance of mood. These are really like, I think, things to appreciate in life, but they certainly are not things that keep us alive. I would argue hope keeps us alive. If I woke up in the morning and I said, I have nothing hopeful, why the heck am I going to get dressed?
Yeah.
You know, like, so I think what happens here is I think the speaker is he's saying he's focused on it. Like, and I think what you said
Mm.
is interesting. Like, he's keeping it at a distance, and maybe there's some type of influence, like some type of outer voice that's telling him that he can't appreciate these things. I don't know.
Yeah, it does read like that. It reads like someone in academia who is around people who are like, you cannot say tears or mother or grandmother
Mm.
and roses. No.
I know. I
You
mean,
know
I
what
have
I
a
mean?
million roses behind me right now.
Yeah. Hey, I have cherry blossoms,
Yes.
So it does read like that where he's kind of it's a rhetorical beginning. He's kind of jabbing back at the discourse of the time where it's like you cannot be sentimental. A man should not have feelings. But then he just
Mm.
once he mentions hope, he goes into it.
I never
And I think
understood
that's
that
yeah,
stereotype. I never understood why people
eh,
said men shouldn't express their feelings.
it's real. It's still real. But um
Yeah.
I think that's why poetry is even more important because
For
um
male poets, I get so excited
yeah,
when when men submit to Vessels of Light, the journal that I host. And it's
yeah,
open submissions if you guys want to submit till June 1st. There's a way, yeah. So, anyways, I know. So, visions that come from the depths, where freshness and honesty breed. So now we get into this idea of like, there is like this depth of integrity and honesty and all these dense like words. But then we get to this idea of like knowledge for knowledge's sake, which is a really dangerous thing.
hmm,
And I think like Jesus and the Pharisees, like they had a really, really hot, problematic relationship because the Pharisees were considered the most religious people in the town in that they claimed to be God's people, and yet they were the farthest away from God's heart. And so I think what it is for poets is to be the closest to God's heart. And that is because what we were saying, they're not afraid to be honest. And
yeah,
it's really important. And we're going to kind of talk about when we get to Shakespeare, true love. True love that is going beyond the bounds of sentimentality. Maybe sentimentality in a way is um, a a supporter, a cheerleader of a helper of love, a like, a prelude to love. But it's certainly not a replacement to love. And so, the Bible talks about love covering a multitude of sin, and also love binds us all together. So I think, yeah, and the greatest of these is love. So let's go here, because now that, I mean, this part is where I'm like, I can't, my heart. Like,
yeah.
this is where it's like, uh-uh. But one dark. Okay, so this is interesting. It's a dark day, but it's also a soulful day. So now the violins they rise up again. And I mean, I want everyone to like, if you're not driving, close your eyes right now and imagine imagine violins, a bunch of them, like a whole orchestra of them, rising up like a wave. like literally rising up and they're playing and it's coming and it's like washing over you like a wave. That's what the speaker sees. And he's saying these sweeping bows or bows? What do you think? I think bows.
Bows.
Bows, sorry. It's bows. The sweeping
Bows.
bows like grain rippling to the far horizon. So it's almost like, the music is sweeping over this speaker
As wind does grain, yeah.
as
Like through
wind.
fields.
So it's like a wave of like through it's just beautiful imagery here. And through that deafening swell. So this is what the speakers what's I think this is a good example of rapture, would you say?
Yeah, oh yeah, yeah. Definitely rapture that not only suffuses but spreads, because
Ooh, say
he
more.
says, yeah, yeah. So he says the sweeping bows like grain rippling to the far horizon. If you've never been in the country or a field of grain, there is such a fluidity to the vegetation. It is like
Hmm.
watching
Hmm.
waves.
Hmm.
So yeah, I
It's
see.
gorgeous. It's so beautiful.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And
Mhm.
um, so I just picture that sound, the sound of a violin being pulled in one singular note that doesn't end, and like a sound wave coming out from the violin itself. It just spreads across the wheat as water
It's so
does.
beautiful.
Yeah,
It's
and
so beautiful. And you know
yeah,
what? Through that deafening swell, my
yeah,
lover's family march uphill. Then the speaker sees his loved ones on earth
yeah. The
going up,
rivers and
going up. And I
family.
kind of get this idea of like Pilgrim's Progress, like going toward heaven, like, the celestial city, like
Hmm.
uphill to a flowered ridge glued on a crystal sky. Yes. Okay. This is literally like they're going toward heaven
I
where
was
the
about to
enemy,
say,
where the
isn't
enemies cannot reach them.
Yeah,
Yes.
isn't
Where the
Crystal
enemy,
Sky,
huh?
that's from the Bible, right? The
Well,
crystalline palace
I mean,
or
Crystalline Kingdom, I wrote a poem about that. And,
oh, right, you wrote that.
also
You wrote
the
that.
Revelation talks about, there's a new heaven and a new earth. And,
Hmm.
it's like the sea is like glass. And so this is
Yeah,
definitely
that's
like
what
a
it was.
picture of paradise and the
Hmm.
enemies cannot reach them. I also
Yeah.
think of like Pharaoh and the Egyptian army coming toward the Israelites and like, God swept them away with the Red Sea.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
so,
I actually I thought of that too. Because it's the image of the movement of water, and
mhm,
it just, water takes up anything, like any object it forms itself around. So it does feel, that's what I mean suffusive, right? Is water takes form of the container it's in, and this feeling of
mhm,
rapture,
mhm,
I think it does the same. Like it takes total, like it, deafening
it
swell, it
does.
takes up his total being
And I actually recently
as
read in
water does. You know what I
scripture.
mean?
I did, yeah.
And
It's so beautiful.
I do think that him capitalizing in enemies. Oh, sorry, my connection's unstable.
No, you go
Can you hear
ahead.
me?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, I do think him using the proper noun enemies here. I think it's really purposeful. It to me it's
How
like,
so?
to me it points directly to Lucifer, Satan, but also any others among that legion.
Right,
Because,
like, yeah,
yeah, like
like
poets
Satanist
don't,
demons. Yeah, like anything in
yeah,
hell. Basically
yeah,
anything. Yeah.
exactly. Because poets don't capitalize a noun for no reason. We do it very specifically for a metaphor or an abstraction or a like a mythos. So, he's putting capital E enemies for a reason. And
Interesting.
it does feel um as if it's as if this stanza has a
It could be
religious,
worldly enemies too. It could be like,
yeah,
people that are attacking them on earth or war or illness or sin or
yeah,
death. Death is, but yeah, that's so interesting. It says that Jesus defeated death, who is the devil. So basically when Jesus dismantled all powers of darkness on the cross, they have nothing on him. I mean, literally, Jesus is the goat, guys. Okay. I mean, okay, but what I was gonna say, what you said, yeah, the enemies. Yeah, so this is a ascension up to a safe place, and the speaker's like, oh my goodness, like, oh
yeah,
my gosh, like I I see my loved ones, they're going, and I need to join them. This could be the place I suddenly think. Like, I run to reach that distant height. So again, there's a distance there, but also my arms outstretched and raised in that gesture of exaltation. I've always seen, but never known. I want to pause there for a minute. I've
Yeah.
always seen, but never known. So if I see something in life, but I don't know it, what do you think that means?
It seems like actually, Dickinson has a poem that says basically this. It's the feeling that um, you see it in other people, but for some reason, there's something within you that keeps you from obtaining that or attaining it.
Hmm.
And, you know, becoming as close to, I think in this sense, and in Dickinson's poem, coming as close to God's presence and love as much as you wish you were. As if like there's some flaw in the speaker that knows it's there, but they haven't obtained
And
it.
I think this, oh my gosh, I think this just fits so well with our conversation today because we're talking about sentimentality. And I think if we put ourselves at a distance at things, if we aren't going to get close to people, there's a time and
Yeah.
place to keep your boundaries. There's always a reason to get closer to God. He's not going to harm you. He's only going to love you. He only wants to heal you. People, I just want to say that, guys. Jesus loves you. But I want to say something too. Um, that with sentimentality, I've always seen it. If you don't allow yourself to get to know something, you're not allowing yourself to get intimate with it.
Hmm.
And um and I think poetry is that rare form that allows everybody to become intimately aware with a subject. And I personally feel thankful that Stephen Corey wrote this poem because I feel like I have become more aware of the beauty of violins. And like, I want to go listen to some violins tonight, you know, like, you know? And so let's just like finish this poem. So, like, and then I am beside myself as well. So then we have ecstasis, which is Greek for I'm out of my body, kind of like I'm literally beside myself. And he sees himself cheering him on, that's when I started tearing up because it's like,
Yeah.
my goodness, like we can be our own worst enemies in life. We literally can try to crucify ourselves throughout our lives. And Jesus is like, daughter, son, I did that for you. I did that. I took that upon myself. And guys, I'm going to tell you something. I read Mere Christianity by C.S. Lewis a few years ago, and there's a part in the book that says if God operates outside of time and space, Jesus Christ had time while he was being crucified to think of every single person, every single moment, every hour of every single moment of their lives. 8 billion, 9 billion people on the earth while he died. And for me, that made his death for me so much more intimate than I could ever imagine. And I'm like, my God, like talk about true love. Like talk about that's not sentimentality. So I guess what I'm trying to get at is like, yeah, um, this person right here is seeing himself cheer him on. And we don't need to be our own enemy because we already have a real enemy. Satan wants to knock us out all the time and demons too. But you know what? We're protected by the blood of Jesus. But I was just saying, I know. Um, but yeah, basically what I'm saying, guys, is like, I think I'll let James take it away.
Yeah, yeah. You take a break. I know it got you seem like that got you in the heart.
Oh,
So
it
and
did give me in
yeah,
the heart.
yeah, yeah. So this ending, and then I am beside myself as well, cheering me on as I run. I do think that what you said about being our own worst enemies is very apt. When he says enemies, I do think he means earthly and celestial enemies. And here, I think he is admitting that he himself is his own enemy at times because he allows himself not to feel this level of sentiment all the time. So when he really goes into sentiment here and he sees himself cheering himself on, he's kind of like we did it and it was okay. We see, look, we could have done it all along. And then, right after I reach the sun-drenched edge and I know I have cut off the dullness of reason.
Hmm.
You know, I do think reason may, I don't want to say this as like um a stone law, you know, written in the cosmic sphere, but I do think reason is a little bit of an enemy towards sentimentality
Hmm.
because, reason stops us in our moments of emotion or um, any lower instinct or
Hmm.
any painful thought. Reason usually is the thing that says, "Hey, stop.
I
You're
think
good."
like this idea of
You
like
know.
overthinking.
Yeah. So, yeah, reason usually stops us, or reason kind of talks us out of it. Reason kind of gets us back to our daily life. However, here reason is the thing that was stopping him from letting, as he says, let loose a burgeoning dream that could give all my other dreams range.
What
He
an
says reason,
ending.
yeah, he says reason is the thing that stops me from being greater than I am and greater than I could ever be because I think otherwise. So, yeah, he's cheering himself on, even at the end, to be sentimental. And yeah, yeah, I love this piece. It's
I do too. I think
yeah,
I love how you just tied that up. I think this is like burgeoning is something like it's growing, it's blossoming, it's just something
yeah,
so beautiful and like even the dreams arranged, meaning like because he has allowed himself to be sentimental and feel, and even I think this is love too, like, joining his family and going on to heaven and overcoming the enemies and, including himself and, seeing the beauty of violins and a wave and fields and sun-drenched edge and, beautiful language here if you guys want to reread this poem. But like, I could give all my other dreams range. Like, that means that all the other dreams that I've had, they're not dead, they're not cut off. Reason was cut off because reason was the enemy in the sense that it made me overthink. And if it
mhm,
made me overthink, then I was limiting myself to really fully enjoy God's pleasure.
yeah.
I mean,
Under feeling instead of overthinking. Yeah,
absolutely.
hmm,
So that is a beautiful poem, guys. We are going to
yeah,
go into Mr. Shakespeare, and James helped me find this one. It is Sonnet 130. I'm going to have James read this one, and then we'll talk about it because we're going to kind of move directions a little bit with counter argument in a minute.
hmm,
So, can you see it?
yeah. I have it up on my screen too.
Okay.
Um, Alrighty. Sonnet 130. My mistress's eyes are nothing like the sun. Coral is far more red than her lips red. If snow be white, why, then her breasts are dun. If hairs be wires, black wires grow on her head. I have seen roses damasked, red and white, but no such roses see I in her cheeks. In some perfumes is there more delight than in the breath that from my mistress reeks. I love to hear her speak, yet I know well that music hath a far more pleasing sound. I grant I never saw a goddess go, my mistress, when she walks, treads on the ground. And yet, by heaven, I think my love as rare as any she belied with false compare.
Hmm. I'd love to hear your thoughts about this piece.
Yeah, I I love this piece. It's one
Okay,
of my
why?
favorite.
Why?
It's
Why are you
it's
laughing?
it's just he says, yeah, she's nothing like the sun, she's nothing like nature. Her lips are a little pale, her breasts are a little boring, her hair is wiry. Her cheeks ain't rosy. Her breath smells terrible, and her music is the sound of her voice is not great. But then he says, and I think this is like the biggest two lines. I grant I never saw a goddess go. My mistress, when she walks, treads on the ground. So he is saying that like treads is kind of a heavy step.
Hmm.
She either has a heavy foot because she's a little, I don't know, aggressive maybe, or maybe she's a bigger woman. I don't know.
I mean, you
But
never know. Let
but
your
this
imagination do the work. Hmm.
yeah, yeah, you never know, but he is saying I think this is where the sentiment lives. I
Hmm.
never saw a goddess, but I have seen her. that's something. That's the
Hmm.
sentimental
Yeah.
piece right there, is that
Hmm.
I've never had proof
Oh, my
of,
heart. My
yeah, it's like
heart.
I've never had proof of the divine, but I
Oh,
see her.
yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, if
and I
I
see
had a,
her in her flaws, I see her in her reeking breath.
I'm
And
God knows if I had a husband that would
yeah.
tell me that. So let me tell you, like, so literally, so like, yeah, I agree with you, James. That just gave me a whole another reading of this piece. Like, I saw this funny post on Instagram. It was like, talking about the Volta because I am a huge fan, woo, of the Volta.
Yeah.
If you're listening for the first time, that's the Italian word for turn. So that's the inciting part of a sonnet that, it triggers a change, a mood shift, a decision, something that happens where there's a epiphanic shift. And I think we can look at these in a minute here, but I think what you said, James, is so poignant because it's like a true love. Someone who's gonna say like, yeah, maybe her breast stinks in the morning and like her hair is like a ratted bird nest and like
Yeah, it's
she like
wild, man.
she has some like prickly legs and she has some holes in her socks.
Maybe her legs are hairier than his, who knows, you
And
know?
she does not know how to cook. Okay?
Oh, that's the worst one. I'm just kidding.
You can't blame women who literally try to hard like they are going to college and they're forced to microwave meals. Like,
No, it's
hey,
okay. I make chicken breast like every day. I don't blame you. The meals
um,
are simple.
hey, what we're learning. I'm in
Yeah,
my
yeah.
I'm in my learning era. But basically, and then what you said though, like, yeah, a goddess, sure, like, okay, this is interesting. A goddess is something that's, mythical or whatever, like something almost untouchable. But this speaker is saying, but I know her, my love is
Hmm.
rare, almost like a pearl that has taken time to form in a messy oyster. And by the way, guys, a pearl is made because an irritant got stuck in an oyster, and the oyster is trying to get that irritant out, and it forms that over time. It forms a pearl because it was trying to get that sand granule out. So I think that's so beautiful. And I think,
Yeah.
and yet by heaven, I think my love is rare as any she belied with false compare. Because then he calls out falseness. So then we can say, okay, sentimentality. I think we should probably start the conversation with uh, Timothy Keller's idea of love without truth is sentimentality.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
we don't want to we don't want to just be sentimental in our works. The problem that happens when we are just getting too feely, lovey-dovey, like too much in our poetry. I want to ask you, James, what is the problem? This is question 7 of falling too much into our feelings in poetry. What is the risk there?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Um, so I think there's two big risks with getting too into your feelings. And one, the big one, which I think maybe I do sometimes, is
Hmm.
you you almost relinquish your concern with the reader's reception. You know,
Hmm.
you're so invested with being as honest as you can with how you feel and what you want to say,
Mm.
that you lose the connection of the translation between your heart and the reader's ear and mind. And
Okay.
yeah,
So a
because
kind of like
sometimes,
reception of the reader being able to digest your work.
yeah, to understand, to empathize.
Okay.
um and then I think sometimes too, the other big problem with sentimentality, or being too far into our feelings, is that if we if we as the writer are a deep feeler and a deep thinker, and then that makes a dissonance sometimes with the readers. Again, it's about empathy, right? um if you write something so for lack of a better word, deep, if you write something too emotionally deep, it might come off as like false because your reader might not be able to
Mm.
understand it. You
Hmm.
know, a lot of Shakespeare's plays are seen as boring because there's no there's no emotional like guideline for you to know that in that moment you were supposed to be screaming as you read it. You
So
know what I mean?
I do know what you mean. I think this is a really good thing for writers and readers alike to, listen to in terms of like emotional dial. So David Hernandez,
Mm.
he is a professor currently at Cal State Long Beach.
I was like, uh-oh.
He is alive and well. He is alive and well. And I hope he listens to this. We love him. He gave us workshops for 2 semesters. He taught
Wow.
us the emotional dial needs to be really, you need to gauge that as a poet. And if it's cranked up too high, you're gonna lose your reader. And if it's cranked too low, your reader's not gonna be able to be invested. And
Yeah.
and I think I had some issues with that. I think, there's also a stereotype called purple prose, which means that you're really
Oh,
flowery in your
don't
language.
even
And
don't even get me started on that.
I don't even
I
know
feel
what does that mean?
so it's like, someone in our cohort used the word vespertine, which means like
Yeah, I know we
evening
talked.
time. Yeah, that's such a beautiful word. It sounds like what it
And
means.
rutilant.
Yeah, there's so many.
I know.
I
So
I think purple prose is
don't be afraid of
such a
purple prose.
slander. Yeah, yeah. If
But
you
but
know
but then
some,
but then don't overdo it though. So I
yeah.
think I think if you drench your work in your feelings, you need to ask yourself the question. This is one thing, actually, this beautiful book, I will do a talk on this later. 3 things a poem needs is gravity,
Mm-hmm.
clarity,
Mm-hmm.
and integrity.
Mm-hmm.
So we need those things. We need to ask ourselves, is the weight of the line, are the words in the line being held by weight? Is there integrity in your piece? And is it clear enough? Is it clarity? If those things are not there, then we're gonna get lost, I think. But I think sentimentality without Timothy Keller, he says love without truth. And so Jesus, he spoke the truth in love. And that was really a really beautiful approach for all of us to take into consideration. Because if we just give the truth and it's really harsh, he says, truth without love is harshness. It gives us information in a way that we cannot really hear it. And I think that as poets, if we are truth tellers, and I hope that all of us are, we want to tell the truth.
Mm.
We don't want to be as any she belied with false compare. We don't want to, kind of have a facadical nature here. But then how we say something really matters. And don't sacrifice sentimentality, but also do not sacrifice truth, because then it's just going to be emotional, and we're all going to drown in somebody's emotions, and we're not going to get any truth out of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I do think that, so to kind of respond to that quote about you know, love without truth is sentimentality. I do think that sentimentality amplifies the truth of love. You know what I mean?
Oh my
Like,
gosh, that was so good.
bam. Yeah, because this is why I think that um the dissonance between writer and reader happens sometimes is that, the way you're conveying the truth of your love, if it comes off simple sentimental, then it may not amplify, but it might detract. And it's up to you as the writer then to really know, if am I honest in this? Is this true to me?
Hmm.
If it is, you can't touch it. But then maybe one in a thousand will understand it. But again, like you said, integrity, gravity, what was the third?
Clarity.
Clarity. Yeah,
Hmm.
thank you. Um, I think if you as the reader, I mean you as the writer, knows you're hitting all three, and if you feel like changing a single word, it's becoming an artifice, and you feel like you're kind of lying to yourself, I think you need to
Right.
leave it alone. And then if it's too sentimental, it's too sentimental, but at least you're honest, you
Absolutely. And
know?
maybe there
Yeah.
are some pieces that are just meant between you and
Oh yeah.
God. And that's just meant for the secret place. And then there's pieces that you will share. And that's great too. There's this book that my friend Kiara, who's going to be a guest on the podcast soon, she gave me these love letters. And one second, guys. Um, like, uh-uh. I just have to read one of them to you really quickly. Like it was just so beautiful. I mean, I'll just read an excerpt. It was just James, you're gonna love this.
I'm ready.
It's just too beautiful for me. Um, but get ready, guys. How can I explain to you my happiness, my golden, wonderful happiness, how much I am all yours, with all my memories, poems, outbursts, inner whirlwinds, or explain that I cannot write a word without hearing how you will pronounce it? You can't recall a single trifle I've lived through without regret so sharp that we haven't lived through it together, whether it's the most personal, intransmissible, or only some sunset or other at the bend of a road. You see what I mean, my happiness? And I know. I can't tell you anything in words, and when I do on the phone, when it comes out completely wrong. Because with you, one needs to do, wait, because with you, one needs to talk wonderfully, the way we talk with people long gone. Do you know what I mean in terms of purity and lightness and spiritual precision? But je patois terribly.
Oh
I think
no.
this is I know, guys. Have mercy on me, okay? Yet you can be bruised by an ugly diminutive, dim
Diminutive?
yes. Man, guys, we're beings.
We're
Um,
poets, I swear.
and last line, because you are so absolutely resonant, like seawater, my lovely. Guys, if somebody said that to me, bye.
That's basically a proposal.
Bye. I would say peace out. This is a Letters of Note Love compiled by Sean Usher. I don't know what were we saying?
No, see,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
when I if I read that, I would be like, that's a little too much, my man. But then I read it again, and I'll be like, damn, okay. You know what I mean? You know, it's
That's
like,
why I love you, James.
yeah,
Because see, you don't shy away from sentimentality.
yeah,
Wait, I have to ask
you gotta
you
readjust.
before we go into your poem. Up in the Macintosh building of the English department, you found this archaic book of definitions, and in
Hmm.
that book, you unearthed a definition of the exclamation mark that said it was called a shriek mark.
A shriek mark, yeah.
And why indeed are shriek marks so screamed at in literature? Like why do we need exclamation marks in our poetry? And I mean, albeit, don't use
Uh,
it too much, but I want to know
oh
your
no,
thoughts.
use it in every line. I'm just kidding.
Oh.
No, yeah. So
Dr. Moore said use it.
yeah. I feel like removing your word hoard and your ability to punctuate, like taking out exclamations, ellipses, dashes, colons, semicolons, whatever. You're kind of
Punctuations. Yeah.
you're like by removing punctuations and words
Mm-hmm.
from your arsenal,
Mm-hmm.
you're really killing your art.
Mm-hmm.
And like, yeah, you could say, oh, it's just an exclamation, but you know what? It could be a streak mark in that sense. You know what I mean? You
Mm-hmm.
removed the streak,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, I know it's like, it's disheartening to see how ellipses and exclamation marks are getting like kind of kicked to the curb.
I know. I think like
Because, yeah,
it evokes a I love them. An excitement, a joy. And I think use them to exude that. But don't use them like overly.
yeah,
Like
don't use them too much. They belong in a very specific spot, and
like
you
for
only
instance
get,
another
yeah.
yes. Go ahead, sorry.
No, no, I was just saying you only get like one or two because we
One
can't
or
have that
two.
much emotion, you know?
One
Well,
or
you can't
two.
have, yeah,
Yeah.
you can't be up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down.
Like
You can be
yes.
down, up, you know?
Yeah, we're promoting moderation, guys. But we're
Yeah,
just also not saying don't like limit yourself like the Stephen Corey poem. Like, be that violin, like go and feel the wave of the violin. Another thing, if you guys ever want to listen to James Joyce's Molly Bloom's soliloquy, it's absolutely gorgeous. And she's like, have you heard that, James?
I've read a lot of Joyce, but that's not coming to my mind
Okay,
right
you're gonna
now.
love it. It's so beautiful. She's saying like yes, and she's dreaming of her like the proposal, and she's just on a field, and it's just beautiful. But it's a very much like or it's a monologue or a soliloquy. But
It's a
yeah,
soliloquy.
yeah, definitely listen to that. She definitely has a beautiful way. But yes, I am looking at your poem, James, and for the sixth one, I got it on the doc, but I don't see the sixth one written. So do we want to? I'm going to share my screen.
Oh, the
But
sixth one is left blank.
hey, okay, I'm going to
Yeah.
share my screen.
Oh,
Yep.
that's right. You never saw the updated version.
No,
Yeah,
I did not. But
yeah, the sixth one was
we're
totally
gonna
removed.
we're gonna go into the last poem, which is written by our very own James here,
Oh
and then
no.
we're gonna talk about it.
Alrighty. I'll read this better than I read the other night. Oh no.
No.
Um, all right. I already messed up. Sort of an assortment of commandments. One, I am not a nautilus. I am not. Two, where has that blood-end axe gone? The thorns rend. I cannot find the way out. I strayed from the way. God, please dissolve the crown. Three, back when I was a man, snow burned in the sea. You see, now it falls up. Four, allow me my whiskey sour at this darkened hour. Tomorrow, tomorrow, you'll get your flowers. Five, I'm not overly sentimental, but I do see your face in the porous moon. Your acne scars are beautiful. Moonlight is the gleam of your oily cheeks. Would it be too much to say your smirk is a waxing catastrophe that desolates me? Six. Seven. Lazarus came back from the land of the dead, but I saw that smiting heroine die a mile away from God's hand. Eight. In the high desert, those aren't fires in the distance. Those are eyes, reflecting in the hills, in the dark. Nine. Love is like a rabbit kicking and snapping its own spine. First, the burst. Then comes the elongation of legs, the stillness into silence. 10. It is not your brain my body adores, but it is your form that adorns my mind. 1. Whatever desolates, desolates. I consume. Can you show me what you do? 3. If you don't listen well, your ears will flap away and become bird feed. Avis seaman. 10. Do yourself a favor, desperado. Decide if you want to be a man-made myth or a myth-made man. 6. What I'm trying to say is what's left isn't right,
Hmm.
and what is left is not right. C, which is 100. There was a bauble somewhere carved from baby's teeth, and it read, in a place with no air, I am windswept. In a realm without water, I drown. In a lightless zone, I am home.
Whoa.
Yeah, yeah,
I
there
did
you go.
not. This is my first time reading that ending.
Mm,
That was very profound, James. I would love to just hear from you. I know that this went through revision, and
yeah,
I was very struck by I want to just like park at five for a little bit, but like even the rabbit kicking, that was something very deep. What compelled you to write this piece? And like even why did you choose it when I asked you to pick one for this talk today?
yeah, sure. I picked this one specifically because I'm talking very directly to sentimentality, especially with 5 and 7 and 9 and
Mm-hmm.
the second one. Um,
Mm,
yeah, so just to run through, the first one is the Thanatosian pool, I am not a nautilus, meaning I am not a bottom feeder of the sea, but I am nothing. And
mm,
the second one refers to Duke of Gloucester's speech of um, how he wants to obtain the English crown, which is all in rage and ambition.
mm,
However, me as the speaker, I have misplaced that. Um, so I have no ambition. However, it goes down and down and down to the sentimental part.
mm-hmm.
Um, and again, I begin with the negative. I'm not overly sentimental, but everything that follows is very sentimental.
It
Um,
is.
I do see your face in the porous moon. Your acne scars are beautiful. I think when you say something is beautiful, that's almost too sentimental and too easy. But I think that's the point, is that I want it to be as if the reader is very sentimental, claiming they're not sentimental, so they could only say easy things.
I think
Um,
number five is very Sonnet 130,
yeah,
you
exactly.
know?
Because, as the speaker, or no, excuse me, as the poet, I do find acne scars incredibly beautiful, simply. They're just they're marks of a truth of pain in the
Hmm.
past.
Hmm.
And I don't know, there's something about them that reminds me of the moon.
Hmm.
So five is very much, I'm not very sentimental as James Shaw, you know, but
Hmm.
as the poet, I am incredibly sentimental.
Yeah, you
So
are.
yeah, so this five is very very much how I feel as
Hmm.
James Shaw. Um, and yeah, it's just I think being too flowery, too rapturous, too whatever would be too sentimental. So to me, this simplicity of your acne scars are beautiful. Moonlight is the gleam of your cheeks. To
Hmm.
me, it's simple, but
Hmm.
it's honest.
Yeah, there's something about that. Like they're dense statements, but they're also very like romantic and
Yeah,
endearing.
straightforward.
Yeah,
Yeah,
straightforward but endearing. And it's like, and like it's unique too, because it's like moonlight is usually something so iridescent, and then oily is like, oh, that's different. And then
yeah,
we have like in the previous one, four, I like this one too, because it's like, okay, like the whiskey juxtaposes the flowers, which is so light and like fragrant when the whiskey is more like sour.
yeah,
And so then I like how you also in the third one have like you play with the two opposites of the snow burning and the falling up. And so we have
yeah,
like these juxtapositions and but then also God comes in here too, which is interesting
yeah.
too.
In
Like
seven,
hmm.
yeah, I. So this is about Judith. Have you read Judith's story?
Judith?
Judith, yeah. It's like right after Beowulf in the Noble Codex.
No, I
Um,
haven't. Tell me.
oh, yeah, it's elevator pitch. Um, yeah, so Beowulf, he did everything right. God came into his body to destroy evil, and then kind of he was like, "All right, you're my hero. Good job. We destroyed evil." And then the next story is Judith, where Judith is it's kind of like
Wait, the first one you just said was Beowulf?
the first one's Beowulf. Basically,
Oh,
Beowulf is like Beowulf comes to destroy evil and he's not strong enough, and God's like, "Let me possess your body to give you strength."
well, the
And
Holy
then
Spirit does that for us.
yeah, it literally says like God is in him now, and it's like, whoa, that's
Amen.
yeah, God is there. And then the next story is Judith, where she's God does not do anything for her other than say, "Do as you will for me." And she kills a tyrant and she brings the head back to her people and they reclaim their land from tyranny in God's name.
Mm,
So yeah, seven is it's a little bit of a play on Lazarus, but also Judith, because Lazarus comes back.
yeah.
However, Judith, following Beowulf's story, you don't know her her fate. You don't know how um her life ends. But you
Mm.
do know that she was
Was
strong
Judith
enough.
good?
Yeah, Judith is good. You
Okay.
do know that Judith has so much faith that even if she dies outside of God's physical presence, she still will meet God in the end. Because that's
Okay.
how much faith
Mm.
God had in Judith. Whereas in
Okay.
Beowulf's story, God had to come save him, God had to come down and be
It
like,
was
all
it
right,
was it was
yeah,
God's strength that
yeah.
helped Beowulf. Okay.
Oh, well, in the book, it says that God literally comes down to earth to help him.
Oh, like Jesus.
Where, yeah, yeah, yeah. But in Judith, God's like, you don't need my help, girl. Do it. He's like, take care of it for me.
Like Joan of Arc?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
I
yeah.
love Joan
So,
of Arc.
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, I would say Joan of Arc and Judith are very similar. And Judith is
I love
just,
her. I'm loving like medieval like
yeah,
stuff lately.
you should read the Noah Codex. It's really it's
What
something.
is it
But
called?
the Noel Codex, Nowell Codex. It contains Beowulf and a bunch of other stuff, but it's all Christian based. Um,
Really? Okay, I'll write it down. Anybody
Yeah, it
else
has
listening? Noel Codex.
yeah,
Noel.
it has the Passion of Saint Christopher, who is
Did it
um
have King Arthur?
no. That's was that Sir Gawain the Green Knight or something?
Okay.
No, that's totally
Um,
something else. That's fantasy.
okay,
But
okay. But you know what? Yeah, this is going down to the bottom. Yeah, I think this oh wait, I like 10. It is not your brain my body adores, but it is your form that adorns my mind. Okay, that is so beautiful. I am not even kidding. Like, okay,
oh, thank you.
I came back from a Pepperdine Summit over at Pepperdine University, and Josh Nadeau, he is a beautiful sword and pencil. If you guys know him, he beautiful Christ-loving artist. He said that the body reveals the soul. And I do think that this is something that affirms this line. It is not your brain my body adores, but it is your form that adorns my mind. Something like that. I don't know. I don't see the soul here, but I think like this connection between body and
Yeah. It
mind.
was playing on the cave allegory, like um
Oh.
yeah, the idea of like the physical and then the ideal. So it's
Hmm.
like, while I cannot see your body
Hmm.
truly, and although I know your brain, your form, which is removed from both of those, the true ideal is what adorns my mind.
Hmm.
So yeah, it's a little sentimental,
That
you know?
is. That is quite, yeah.
Yeah,
The last one is so wow, like in a place there's no air and windswept, like all these negative statements, like which is very Rilke, like with so no air, no water, no light, the speaker feels blown away like they're drowning and like they're in a place they can call home.
yeah,
And what do you take with this ending? Because this is new for me. I didn't actually read this ending.
yeah. I don't remember if you were there. Anyway. Yeah. So a lot of these commandments, for lack of a better word, um, they have positive sentimental properties rooted in a negative source, which I think a lot of my work does. Like my whole thesis is the idea of turning um, darkness into creation,
Mm-hmm.
and which I think is what everyone's goal in life should be, is to turn their pain into something beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, there was a bauble somewhere carved from baby's teeth, and it read, "In a place with no air, I am windswept. In a realm without water, I drown. In a lightless zone, I am home." So I used the first line to kind of capture the feeling of bygone paganism by the use of bauble and baby's teeth and somewhere. So, it's nowhere we can know where it is. There's nowhere we can obtain it. It was just, this is a truth that is far removed from time.
Mm-hmm.
And then what follows, it's like, when I have no air, I'm still blown. When there's no water, I drown. When there is no light, I am home. And it's the idea that in the negatives, there's still a great suffusion of positives. Um,
Mm,
because,
that's beautiful. I think that
yeah,
speaks to hope.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's
Whispers of
it's hope.
hope.
It's hope in a weird container. It's
Yes,
it's said in
quite,
a unhopeful way, but it is hope. Yeah.
quite. I think so. I really do. But guys, we're so grateful you listened to this today, and even just going on this journey with James and I, we wanted to take this time to really look at the risk of sentimentality with you in poetry, and hopefully you got, just inspired by the three poems that we looked at with Corey and Shakespeare and Mr. Shaw here, and just going back to heart work. This is an honest pursuit. This is writing that cuts to the eye, the ear, and the heart, ultimately leading us to the never-ending love of Jesus Christ. And so I hope that you guys loved this podcast. We're going to come up with a new one coming up soon. And yeah, this is my tagline to end off with. Well, first I want to ask if James has any last words for our
Oh,
listeners.
yeah, sure. Yeah, either in poetry or your actual life, just be honest. If you are sentimental, you are sentimental. John Donne and Dickinson and all these poets who are looked back upon as masters, when they published that stuff, people were putting their nose up and saying, "Ugh, you feel that way?" You know what I
They
mean?
didn't they
So
didn't hold back. They
yeah,
didn't.
they didn't hold back. So yeah, be honest with how you feel in life and writing. And
Yes, I
I
forgot,
think,
James.
hmm,
Continue, but we didn't do our
oh,
game.
oh no. Okay, we could do it real quick.
Okay, okay,
Well,
okay.
so be honest, be sentimental if you must,
Okay.
or if
So,
you're not, don't.
yeah, if you're listening real quick, I wanted to play a game with James. And it's basically going to be um on mm, hear the statement but make it sentimental. So, it's
Hmm.
basically like I'm going to say a line and then James is going to transmute it and make it sentimental. And then you're going to say something to me and then I'm going to make it sentimental.
Okay, cool.
So
That sounds
you'll do
fun.
you could do the second one, or like there's five of them here, and we'll do them. Okay. So
Okay,
I'm gonna throw this first one at you. I missed you.
okay. Give me a few seconds.
Yeah.
For as long as you've been gone, I've become a king in a queenless kingdom, and the walls fall around me until you return, and they build back up. I'll wait for you that long. There you go.
What the? Okay, that just surpassed my expectations. That thank you. Okay,
That's
I
a
don't know if
poem.
I can. I do not know if I can do that. Let's go ahead.
Alexis.
Go ahead.
No, I think you're more capable than you think.
No, no.
Okay. Do you remember when we first met?
Can you discern that same wind? That fragrance that swept by you and me at the same time that day on the cliff? That same wind that brought us together? I smell it again.
Okay. See, there you go.
Okay,
I
go
like
ahead.
that. I like that.
All right, ready?
Yeah.
Is this the end of us?
Oh no.
Mhm.
None could have imagined how this mountain would fall to pieces, how God's fist would come and pummel it down. I thought you would be in my life for many lives, and I thought an eon would seem short, but you were already gone. There you go.
That
See,
was that was
I should have
good.
been born 300 years ago.
Yes,
No, I'm just kidding.
I quite think I concur.
All right, next one. Where have you been for you?
I kept the door unlocked. I mean, I would say for 1,000 nights. Oh, mornings too. I left and then I would come back and it would still be the same. It was. I I sent 1,000 letters to the coast. I'm sorry. Okay. And
No, that was good. That was good.
okay,
Go, go, go.
and none of them, I mean none of them, all of them came back returned. Are we just two ships in the night now? Or or can I expect your footprints or the imprint of your body in the sheets tonight? There you
Ooh, I like that. I
go.
like that. See, that was good.
Thank you.
No, that was top 10 out of 10.
Thank you. I don't
All
know what
right.
happened to me. Okay.
No, it's
Last
okay.
one.
I felt that.
Thank you. This smells like you. Hmm.
Mm. I feel like you did that with the wind so well
Okay,
already.
shoot. What should I say? How about what should I say? Um, this reminds me of you. Mm.
Mm. Okay, let's see. I think that's one area I'm not great at. Sentimentality is nostalgia. Actually, no. Okay. This reminds me of you. The way you stood there in the bookstore, that little shaft of light coming down, turning your brown hair red, a little gold. You know, you always did like raccoons. And I just saw it run across the floor with trash in its mouth, and I thought, yeah, that's you. Yeah, that's you. I'm sorry, I had to put a Volta.
That definitely turned.
Sorry.
Brand Ratchet. What the heck? Hey guys, this concludes our podcast for the day. We thank you for staying this long.
Of
Um,
course.
I'm gonna say, so James, you're gonna say, stay true. Okay?
Okay.
Okay. From one beating heart to another.
Stay true.
Thank you guys for listening.